Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. There is something that we need to say as a collective group, and then we can carry on with the show.
Or who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Thanks, Coach.
That encompasses a lot of how I feel right now. A lot of how I feel right now. A little bit more, but that's a well said, a little bit different from how I would say it, but exactly how I feel. So we're gonna start off, guys, because we're not gonna break what we do. So we're gonna start off here with our updates. But after our updates, it's gonna get real. All right, Wyatt, what do you have for us on the update front, my good man?
Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, this was kind of news before the game this past week, but Quez Watkins is on IR officially as of right now. We're not going to be seeing Quez here for the next 4 weeks. I mean, good news for most. If you've been watching the games, we get Zacchaeus in there. And then, of course, the new addition, which is, the big news out of the week is we ended up signing Julio Jones. Dude, I thought was retired. I mean, I knew he played a little bit last year. I haven't heard of his name since. I just thought dude kind of just vanished, went out into retirement and enjoying life, whatever. But yeah, he's a Philadelphia Eagle as of right now. I never thought I'd see the day that Julio Jones is a Philadelphia Eagle. It's really weird. I wish it would have been way sooner. But hey, it is what it is. But I mean, with some of the injuries updates we'll get to and Quez being on IR, I mean, this is kind of a roster spot we needed to fill here.
Yeah, Diva, do you have any thoughts on the Julio Jones signing?
We needed that, but we need some help on the D line. But yeah, appreciate that though.
Yeah.
So I agree that the line did not look as strong last week, but we have to remember one thing about the line. The man child was not there this week. If we put the man child back on the defensive line, I think we look better, right? Would I want some more help? Absolutely. But I also understand we need safety help. We need DB help. So there are a lot of places that we could use depth or upgrades or both. As far as the Julio signing, I actually said on NFC Beast on Saturday, you can catch that right here as well, that I would love for us to sign Julio because the veteran presence that he brings. And there's one thing that some Eagles fans complain about, and that's A.J. Brown and some of the things he says, right? If you take A.J. Brown and you basically say, you know what, we're going to get somebody that you'll listen to, right? Somebody who can talk to you and say, hey, bro, blase, blase. This is that guy. This is a veteran. This is a guy who's been a number one receiver for lots of years. He's not that anymore. We didn't bring him in to be a number one guy. We brought him in to be the third or fourth guy and help be another voice that number 11 will listen to. Number 6 will listen to, that knows number 1, right? A veteran presence. So that's what he's here for. And I think he's a great fit for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's something it's one of those types of moves you see pretty much every contending team that is probably going to be going to the Super Bowl is going to make. We saw it a couple years ago, the Rams getting Odell. It's one of those moves we see all these teams that are looking to compete go out and make. I mean, it's not necessarily a move we really needed as of right now because we have some bigger needs, but I mean, it isn't the trade deadline as of yet. We know how he's going to be working them phones as much as possible to try to get us some safety help or some CB help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we got Philly. She's first today. She says, what's going on? Hopefully we will do way better Sunday. Agreed.
Go on, Philly.
What's going on there? She says, hey, cool, Diva and Wyatt.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello.
But we actually ended up bringing back a familiar face as well. We brought back Josiah Scott, who was on Pittsburgh's practice squad. He spent some time with us before. He was even on the squad before the start of the season and everything. We ended up waiving Mario Goodrich. So, I mean, as far as if it's a step up or not, that's to be determined. We'll see that probably on Sunday here and going forward, because Josiah Scott has some experience at safety and he could play the nickel and everything. So I mean, he's a little versatile, but I don't know how much of a step up that's going to be compared to like Goodrich or Josh Jobe or whoever else we have on the roster. But I mean, it's something, how he doesn't wait to try to fix some of these things. He sees the holes and he goes out and tries to do everything in his power to, fill them. And I mean, of course, there's limited things you can do as far as trades because not everybody wants to give up those best players. But I mean, he's going out here and hitting practice squads and in the free agent market as of right now to try to fill up some of those things. And of course, I'm sure, like we mentioned, we'll probably see maybe one or two trades.
So y'all know who's back this week now that we lost.
What up, Rod?
What up, Rod?
What up, Rod?
So, yeah, I feel it, man. Now, I know we were talking earlier about the plethora of injuries that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's definitely something we should take a minute here to talk about. So, as of today's practice, Reed Blankenship did not practice, with rib injury. Lane Johnson, ankle, did not practice. He's not going to practice all week. I'm going to be real. So I'm not worried about that. I'd rather him keep that ankle.
They're already saying he's probably going to be good to go for Sunday night. I mean, Lane, he's a warrior.
And then Bradley Roby, shoulder, he didn't practice.
That one's rough.
Yeah, and then Devontae Smith with the hamstring didn't practice. And I want to say this. Devontae Smith got beat up on Sunday. He got mauled. He got attacked. Like, he really got beat up on Sunday. But it's a hamstring. It's the injury that, kept him out. But, yeah, he went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Carter with his ankle, he left practice early. Dallas Goedert with his groin, he left practice. Darius Slay with the knee left practice. Milton Williams with his ankle left practice. Sidney Brown finished practice with his hamstring. Eli Ricks with his knee did finish. And then Marlon Tupeludo with his tricep injury did finish practice. So we got 3 people that finished practice, some people that left, and then some guys that didn't practice. So I'm not as concerned today because as long as they are able to play on the day that counts, and that's Sunday night, we're going to be good. They can't play Sunday night, then we're not going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, a couple other ones that are as far as like limited and not, I mean, like we mentioned, Lane Johnson, it seems like he's going to be good to go for Sunday night. How long he's going to be able to hold up on an ankle remains to be seen, but we've seen what Lane can do as far as being injured and play. I mean, this dude, even at 70%, is better than most of the right tackles in the game. So, I mean, just having him back is going to be a huge help because we saw what Jack Stoll can do over there. We don't need that any longer. And Darius Slay, he's already out on Twitter and on his podcast saying that, he had something he had to clear up over the past week, but he seems like he's going to be good to go. So, I mean, we can expect Darius Slay to probably be out there on Sunday night as well.
Well, let's hope that he is. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a moment here. We're going to breathe. We're going to have a little happiness come into our lives. And then when we return, it's going to be on. So let's get it and let's get ready.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have returned. And this is what is going to be the juicy part of the show. So we're going to start with Eagles Diva. We're going to go ladies first with this one. We had a game on Sunday. That's all I'm going to say. Diva, we're going to give you the screen and let you say what you want to say. Wyatt, we're going to allow you to say what you want to say, sir. And I'll go last. All right, so Let's get to it.
I mean, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I mean, I knew it was coming because we haven't been playing to our potential, and as Wyatt kept saying, that red zone offense is garbage. Like, there's no scheming, there's no type of trying to do something different. Like, at least with Shane, we saw a little something different. Like, he knew how to get that ball in that end zone. But throwing the ball almost 50 times, I don't understand. Like, we scored 14 points and then we scored nothing else. Nothing else. So I'm not understanding why you diverted from what you were doing in the first half. And then I got to get on AJ because that would have been a touchdown, but he stopped running. He kind of stuttered his step. I don't know what he was thinking about, but that would have been a touchdown. You know, Devontae dropped some balls. I don't know. I knew it was coming, and Jalen is not making smart decisions. I don't know if it's the money, but he's really not making smart decisions. I don't know if it's the coaching, but I feel like Jalen's a smart dude, like a very smart dude, and he understands football. And I feel like even if you don't understand what Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni are calling, you smart enough to see what you see on that field. You know what I'm saying? You're not scanning the field like you did last year. Like, he's just, don't get me wrong, that one play where he manhandled that one dude and got the ball off, that was cool. But the rest of the time, you know what I'm saying? He was holding the ball too long. Then you had Driscoll come in and look horrible. Like, my boy was just like all over the field. I don't even know. He wasn't even tackling. Like, as soon as Lane went out, I was like, oh, well, Jalen about to be running for his life. And that's exactly what happened. He ran for his life. He couldn't get the ball off. He was just throwing the ball. He wasn't scanning the field. He was trying to force the ball in places that he know for a fact it should not go. Like, I don't. This is the game we needed. Like, they kept saying, "Oh, well, we're winning." Yeah, but you're just by the skin of your teeth winning. When we know that y'all are a better football team, and now you finally see that you can't keep. That's not gonna help you win. Period. Um, we really wouldn't have been in that game if Desai wasn't out there coaching his butt off. Like, he came back strong after that week, what, 6, 5. But he was coaching his butt off. And then eventually they got tired of me because they was on the field the whole time. So you really can't, especially the second half, they was on the field the whole time just about. So you really can't blame him. But he did do a good job in coaching that defense. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. I got nothing more to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough to talk about this one. I mean, where do you even start? I mean, as soon as Lane went out, I mean, you look at our record without Lane over the course of the past couple of years, it's not good. It's not good at all, and it's crazy how integral he is to that offensive line and to this team's success. Because without him, it goes to the trash can real quick. I mean, and it didn't seem like we were doing anything to try to help Hurts in that situation. Like, I know in a couple areas they had like Kenny Gainwell blocking a little bit on the outside, but you need to kind of bring in like some tight ends or try to get in some extra help for Jalen and stop running these shotgun plays. You're having Jalen drop back 45 times in a game when you're missing your right tackle, and that's it's making him even more uncomfortable. You saw it as the game was progressing. He was starting getting hit more. He was getting sacked. Those interceptions. It was just a combination of everything, and then just him feeling pressure constantly after that. They did exactly to us what we were supposed to do to them. And that was, I mean, not even control time of possession, but put the pressure on and make them uncomfortable. Jalen, I wouldn't say he was seeing ghosts, but he wasn't comfortable doing every single play at all. That's why he was making those bad plays. He wasn't going through his reads like he was supposed to. It seemed like he thought there was someone behind him every time he snapped that ball. I mean, you just can't do that. You got to find a way to get that ball off as quick as possible, scheme some receivers open. I mean, it's like what all these offenses were doing to us over these 5 weeks. Get the ball off quick as you can, get some slant passes going on to A.J. Brown or Devontae, get them open. It doesn't seem like they were trying to do anything to help him out. And one of those, the big important thing is utilize the run game. I mean, you look at the stats, you have 14 carries between all three of our running backs. That's unacceptable. I mean, DeAndre Swift had 2, Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott both had 2 carries rushing. How are you going to go into a game like this with 14 carries between your running backs? And you were utilizing the run in that first half until the fumble with DeAndre Swift. And as soon as that fumble occurred, it's like, oh, well, we can't use the run game now. We fumbled once. All right, well, if you utilize that method, then as soon as those picks were thrown, then you shouldn't have been throwing as many passes going forward. You should have been going right back to that run game. I'm not going to say anything about the defense because Sean Desai was holding it down with, 6 weeks of makeshift secondaries. Putting different players out there starting every single week is not an easy thing to do, especially for a new defensive coordinator. And he was able to do exactly what we were supposed to against the Jets, holding them to field goals and everything. But I mean, that offense, it was, if it's not one thing, it's the other. I mean, we were expecting the defense to possibly be the worst part of this game. And then of course it was the offense. I mean, we were able to do some work in that first half, but that second half, they made it absolutely miserable for this offense and for Jalen Hurts. And I mean, part of that is Jalen Hurts and his decision-making. You can't be making a lot of those throws you can be making, especially that last play throwing in the double coverage where he got picked off. It's unacceptable. But I mean, the other thing about that is a lot of this is on Brian Johnson too, and Nick Sirianni. I mean, I know Nick Sirianni's been going around and overriding certain things that Brian Johnson's been calling or whatever. We don't know what the extent of that is, but it doesn't seem like Brian Johnson is making sure these players are prepared. And we've been talking about it weeks and weeks that his situational decision-making is abysmal, especially in that red zone. We're not able to get touchdowns. We're barely even running the ball. When we are running the ball, we're running QB draws. Luckily, we didn't see too many of that in this game. I mean, Jalen Hurts was running for his life, but it wasn't like designed, it seemed like. But it's just not working. I mean, it's 6 weeks. And every week it's like, oh, it's a growing thing. We're figuring out something. Well, this week we didn't figure out anything. There was really no growth as of this week. We regressed. So it's like, how many weeks do we have to wait until things actually start improving even more? Because Brian Johnson, we 6 weeks into this season, and it's not looking good for you, brother. I don't know what's going to happen. I know we got a lot more season to go, but I just can't see us going into the next season with Brian Johnson as a play caller. I mean, as far as the fans are reacting to it, of course, as an organization, they're going to probably keep him for another season, but unless it gets better, I just don't see how we can keep this dude. Obviously, you can't fire him in the middle of the season because you can't just create a whole new game plan out of thin air, but it doesn't seem like anybody's prepared at all. I mean, as soon as they hit the one roadblock during this game plan that they made for this game, they don't know what to do. They're just scrambling through their playbook, just throwing out random plays. They're not trying to generate any sort of consistency or any sort of rhythm for Jalen Hurts, which is throwing him off, especially missing his right tackle there. It was coaching malpractice in this game. I mean, this was an easily winnable game. You were ahead the whole time, and then you just go out and you lay a goose egg in that second half. It's just unacceptable. And I mean, if I was Nick Sirianni, I'd be ripping into these coaches Sunday night. I mean, we heard that Nick Sirianni didn't even talk to the players. He let the players talk in the locker room after the game and everything. But man, if I was Sirianni, I'd be ripping into these coaches come Monday and make sure everything is fixed come into this Dolphins game. So I mean, we'll get into that. But if you go out there and look like this against the Dolphins, it's going to be bad news. We're going to be even more pissed off next week than we are right now. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Sam? I'm gonna let Sam know what's going on. I'm gonna allow him to go before me because I want everybody to be able to say what they want to say first. Because mine's gonna be long-winded. But hit the comments here first. We got my guy Rob in the comments. Rob Carlton, what's going on, man? He says this week hurts, all puns intended. That is all true, sir. All 1,000% true. We have Key with the what's up, guys.
Happening, Key.
What's going on, Key?
And then Jaden looked like a track star out there. All I can say to that is he's a runner, he's a track star. And then Philly E says, I need Hurts to turn up. Definitely needs to turn up. He needs to get comfortable and look like the guy we had last year. And then Key says, in the words of Mama from the Blind Side, run the dang ball.
How many times did I say that in our chat? How many times do I say that in our chat?
You can't say that enough. That is like the most logical thing. So Sam, we're gonna give you the floor. Let you say how you feel about what happened. I'm going last because I have a lot to say.
Well, I'm not going to lie. It was obviously a really disappointing loss. I don't think anybody really expected us to go in against the Jets and lose to Zach Wilson. But ultimately, it is what it is. I mean, we've been having struggles on offense all season long. If you've been watching the games, you know we haven't blown anybody out yet, and we should have blown out a couple opponents already at this point. So, honestly, you know, if you've been watching this show, you know that all of us here are critics of Brian Johnson's play calling. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I do think eventually he'll get it down and he'll be able to be a good play caller. But as of right now, it looks very much like he's a rookie NFL offensive coordinator. And unfortunately, I think this is one of those things where he's just got to take his lumps and ultimately kind of work his way through these issues. But ultimately, hopefully he gets it figured out fairly quickly, because if we suffer any more of these losses that we're not supposed to take, we're going to fall back to the pack in the NFC East real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Where to start? So I'm going to start with Brian Johnson. After the game, Brian Johnson said, and I quote, "I don't have a problem with the way we ran the ball. What that tells me is you are a freaking idiot. I'm sorry. Not enough runs is wide already. Let us know." Also, we're sitting here. We're watching them go up and down the field, up and down the field. And all we see is 4 and out, missed field goal, not getting in the red zone, going for it on 4th and not making it. All ridiculous things. We didn't score in the second half. When has the Eagles not scored? Not even 3 points in the second half. So many things went wrong. You know, people say like 2 of the interceptions weren't Hurts' fault, blah, blah, blah. I get that technically they weren't, but at the same time, if Hurts had made better reads, it probably wouldn't happen. Hurts did not read the field well this game. Hurts disappointed me in his play this game, and I haven't said that much about him even in losses. He disappointed me with the way he read the field. He disappointed me with taking off before he even really tried to do anything. He doesn't audible. You've been an MVP candidate. Audible out of those ridiculous plays, bro. I don't want to see you look like rookie Jalen Hurts. Unless you want to go back to get paid like rookie Jalen Hurts. Now I get it, one game, but this is a symptom of what's been happening the entire season. This is not just, oh, we had a bad game. This is, oh, we've had a bad season. What saved us without all of his pieces is the defense. And I'm not going to say Sean Desai's defense was amazing, but I felt it held up well based on what we had. Right? We didn't have Jalen Carter. Other guys got injured throughout the game. But next man up is a real thing. And if the next man up is not able to play, the next man up doesn't need to be the next man up. So there's some things we need to look at as far as personnel as well. We've made some moves. Hopefully more are coming. There shouldn't be the drop-off between Lane Johnson and his backup if there is, period. There should not be that much of a drop-off. Sorry, y'all. Also, I don't know who did what. I don't know who overrided what plays. But just because there's a fumble, we don't stop running the ball. We are a running team. Everybody identifies the Eagles as a running team. All of a sudden, we decide we don't know how to run the ball. All of a sudden, we keep putting our defense in bad situations. All of a sudden, we turn the ball over, even in the last drive, right? If Jalen Hurts runs the ball, hands the ball off, or throws the ball away and doesn't try to force that ball that gets picked off, we still probably win this game. Even as bad as we played. Just poor decision-making all around. I understand that you had extra pressure because Lane Johnson wasn't there. But at the end of the day, you're an NFL player. You're paid like a top quarterback. Sometimes you got to suck it up and you got to find a way, man. If you got to relocate and then throw, if you got to audible where you see the blitz coming from, audible your protection, you have things that you can do as a quarterback. It's time for us to see you do those things. Right? Last year, you were kind of in the perfect situation. Granted, I'll admit that. This year's a little bit harder because the play calling isn't the same. But you know what worked last year. Where's your conversation with your OC like, bro? And this is a guy that you've known for a minute. So it should be easy for you to go to him and say, we need to fix this, man. Can we put in some of these RPO plays that worked so well for us last year? Can we do some of the things that work well? Right? Brian Johnson, you were on the staff last year. You saw what worked well. You don't reinvent the wheel. You just put rims on it. So what are you doing? Nick Sirianni, you're letting this happen. Now, for a lot of weeks, I have said, Sean Desai, I don't know. Sean Desai, you're the guy that kept us in the game. You and your defense. That offense was putrid. After that, really, honestly, after the first touchdown, even the touchdown to Swift was just like, we're going to throw it, and he just happened to break some tackles and get in the end zone. If he didn't get in right there, we probably don't score then. The way we've been playing. Red zone has to be better. Hopefully, we start to say, hey, we've got A.J. Brown on one side. We've got Dallas Goedert. We've got guys, at the tight end position. What happened to the big Albert O dude that we brought in? Everybody said, oh, he's going to be a guy that you could use in the red zone. He doesn't see the field. How are we going to use him in the red zone? If you're not going to play guys, put them on the practice squad, deactivate them, and go get some guys that can play for us right now. I could say a lot more, but I'm going to stop right there. But what I will say is I expect to see a much better Philadelphia Eagles team. I don't care who's out and who's playing this coming Sunday night. I expect to see a better team. I expect for us to start turning the corner and saying that was embarrassing. That's a game we should have won. We should not have let them come back and beat us. And I expect them to be better. I don't expect to be having these conversations again about this team this season. You don't win all the games, I get it. But the way you lost, that's embarrassing. Disappointed. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So now that we've got some of it out, so I'm sure, like myself, you can get everything out. And here's my guy. This always makes me feel better. Good evening to the Eagles Nation and my friend Cool Breeze McCain. What's up, Vicala? That always makes me feel better. It's an amazing thing. So he came in right on time. But guys, now that we've had a chance to kind of, get our feelings on that off, now let's do a real recap for the game. All right, we'll start with Sam since you're up top. Sam, thoughts on the actual game recap, like what we did, what we could do differently, where things went downhill, all that good stuff. What do you got?
Well, I think Key in the building put it in a lot better words than I could when she said, run the dang ball. Because honestly, hot damn, how in the hell do we have DeAndre Swift and we only run the ball 14 times as a team in that game? That is, like you said, Wyatt, that is unacceptable. It is inexcusable. There's literally no reason that should ever happen, especially when you got a guy like Jalen Hurts as the quarterback. So, a couple of those runs were accounted to him. So we didn't even make an effort to run the ball. I get the Jets have a great defensive front. Don't get me wrong, their defense as a whole is amazing. But at the same time, you knew that going into it. How did you not scheme ahead of time for the run game specifically? That's our entire game plan. I went into this game excited to see a run-heavy matchup and came out of it disappointed that we lost because of the fact that we neglected the run entirely. It's unreal to see. But to be quite honest, we have to get a safety in here as well. The way that we're playing right now with our cornerbacks, 10 yards off the line of scrimmage every play is not going to work. And right now I feel like that's completely because of the fact that they do not trust the safeties and they don't trust the nickel corner right now. Ultimately we got to do something about that. I think Howie's obviously already looking, but we'll see what he ultimately does before the trade deadline.
Wyatt, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, just to add on, just like when you run in the ball as well and you miss in the right guard, don't be running to the right side all the time, too. Like they were trying to do that, and it's instantly getting blown up. We saw that, like the Boston Scott, what was it now, down near the red zone, where he just got immediately shut down. And it seems like this offense is just becoming too predictable as of right now. I mean, I was seeing some highlights over the past couple of days. It seems like the Jets defense was calling out our plays before they knew what we were going to do before we even do them. And even just watching as a fan of this team, I was predicting it, like I knew that QB draw that Jalen scored that touchdown. Like it didn't seem like he scored it at first, but they ended up calling it a touchdown. I called that. I knew immediately, okay, Jalen Hurts is going to rush it right here. And sure enough, he did it. And I was like, if I could do that, I'm sure these other teams that are watching film nonstop can do that. It's like, where's the creativity on offense? And like you said, Philly has made a name of itself as a running team. Look at over the past couple years, every team we've come up against that's the best, run blocking team in the league, we put up like 200 rushing yards on them. Like whether it was the Saints or who, like Tampa Bay was the best rushing team this year. They were saying that we were going to run into a brick wall, and we ran all over them. So it's like, why aren't we doing that consistently and opening up that pass game? And if you're scared to use DeAndre Swift and making him get hurt, because I mean his injury history, why are you just using Kenny Gainwell? I was actually surprised to see Boston Scott a couple times in this game. I mean, it wasn't nearly enough, but why are you just using Kenny Gainwell? Like, where's Rashad Penny? Speaking of wasting a roster spot, you're talking about Albert O. Where is Penny? Dude's not even dressing for game day. He's a healthy scratch week by week. If you're not sold on him, why is he wasting a roster spot here? Put him on the practice squad or release him. If not, put him in the dang game so we have someone to use in the red zone if you don't want to use Swift. But you don't even want to run the ball in the red zone, it seems like. You just want to do pass. And it's like that is not working, especially with the way that you're running these schemes. You're not scheming people open, and these I don't know. Nobody's getting open, it seems. And it's Jalen should not be having that hard of a time to find AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, or Dallas Goedert open. It just doesn't make sense to me.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, you muted.
Oh, I don't know how that happened. I'm throwing things coming here. Says, "How are you guys doing tonight?" Well, as you can tell, Vicky, a little touchy tonight, but we okay.
We're getting through it.
Yeah, we're talking through it. We're getting our feelings out. We're getting our emotions out.
Yeah, that's how we get over it.
Yes, sir. What you got, Diva?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how we let a team beat us that kicked, 5 field goals, 1 touchdown. I mean, they basically beat us with field goals, y'all. The reason why they got that touchdown was because it was intercepted and they ran it back. They basically beat us with field goals. And we couldn't even get down to the point, besides that one time that Jake missed, that we could even get Jake in the field goal range or even close to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes to show you that Brian Johnson don't know what he's doing. If Nick Sirianni calling him calls, he don't know what he's doing either, because you have to be creative, especially in the end zone. And you see no creativity at all. Like those 3 or 4 running plays, they snuffed him out in no time. Like it was nothing. And then the fact that the 2 times you did use Boston Scott, he did give a good run. Like boy was out. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know why we just using Gainwell and not Rashard Penny, but Swift. And then if you weren't gonna use Rashard Penny, we could have kept the ball with the legs, man. Like he was balling in preseason, so I'm not understanding why we didn't keep him if we're not even playing Rashard Penny, because it said he was on the injury list last week. So it makes no sense to me as to what is going on. And everybody was there last year. So I'm not understanding why you just didn't take what Shane was doing. Who cares? Take what he was doing. I mean, because it worked. Like it really worked. Like it was creative. We ran the ball. A lot of times we did. I mean, Philadelphia been running away from the run game forever. Like that's not something they're known to stick with throughout the whole season, is run the ball. Like we can run the ball now. We known to run the ball, but we abandoned running the ball all throughout the season. Not understanding that when you run the ball, it opens up the rest of your players. You wonder why the only person that's getting open is AJ, because AJ is half beast, half man. So he able to get that. He's able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But as you see, Smitty been having trouble. I ain't even see him even hit Zacchaeus at all. Goddard, he barely hit Goddard. So it's like you're not using all your weapons, and Jalen's not playing smart. Like Jalen is like I keep saying, he's a very high IQ football guy. And for him to be out there making them reads and knowing that you should not be throwing in double coverage and that's what you're doing. He's not even scanning the field fully. Like, he's really not. And he's holding the ball way too long. He's trying to make a play when sometimes you can't even make the play. Like, either tuck it and run or throw it away. Why are you holding the ball? Like, can't nobody get open, evidently. Some people are not coming back to help you get them open. You're not leading them either, besides AJ, because like I said, he's half beast, half man. So you really ain't got to lead him. He just know the ball coming. He know go get it. Besides that one play where I don't know if he stutter stepped, he stopped running a little bit. That would have been a touchdown. But we got to do better, man. Jalen definitely got to do better. Like, I ain't never thought I'd say that about Jalen, but he's not being smart, and he's a good enough football player to be able to see what's going on, even if the play calling ain't making sense. Like, you smart enough to opt those plays. You the one looking at the field. You know what's going on. So you got to do better as well.
So from an X's and O's standpoint, what I saw was one team very gritty, just plucked away. They knew they were outmatched, but they also saw that the other team decided not to bring their A game or their B game. I saw their defense outplay our offense for most of the game, except for 2 drives. I also saw a defense for the Eagles that kept holding them when put in bad positions by said offense. It has to be a symbiotic relationship between the offense, defense, and special teams. The offense needs to not turn the ball over. We came into this game undefeated because we were not turning the ball over. There was no points off turnovers. This game, there were points off turnovers. One of the reasons why we lost. We came into this game feeling like, oh, we should be able to run this ball. We didn't. Like almost 50 passes from Jalen Hurts. That's not what you want. That's not what you want from any quarterback in today's NFL. We don't throw screens. We don't do jet sweeps. You've got a guy that was playing last week in Quez Watkins that's fast, can't catch, but fast. So what do you do with a guy that's fast but can't catch? Maybe a jet sweep. Maybe throwing the ball out on the side, right? Think like you're going to screen to the right, throw it to him on the left, and see what he can do. But it's just like a little pitch and catch. Crazy things that we don't do. You know, we haven't really used the running backs out of the backfield as pass catchers much. We did realize Boston Scott's still on the roster this week, so that's good. But we need to see more. When you have a big time running back, which I believe Swift is, even when he fumbles the ball, you stick the ball back in the stomach and you say, go make up for it. You don't say, oh, he fumbled, so we can't give him the ball anymore much because we don't want him to fumble again. We're going to put the ball in Jalen's hands so he can throw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
What was the difference?
You saw with Sermon in preseason. He fumbled, and then he came right back, ended up getting like 80 yards and a touchdown.
Man, I get mad.
But if you don't give him the opportunity, he can't make up for the play.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, the combination of you two guys have to be exponentially better. There's this thing called adjustments. The defense made adjustments at halftime. The Jets defense made adjustments at halftime. The Jets offense made adjustments at halftime. But guess who didn't? The Eagles offense. We decided to come with the same thing we did in the first half and got the same results. So moving forward, what our offensive play caller and head coach need to understand. What you did sucked. It was embarrassing. And you gave us a loss that we really should not have. So now you need to learn from it. Both of y'all need to lock yourself in the film room. And y'all need to call somebody who knows how to call plays and have them come in there with you. Because it's not anybody that's in that room. So we need to get an offensive, what's the word I'm looking for here? Consultant. Yeah. We need to get an offensive consultant. Like not
Read
yesterday,
my mind.
but today. Because that offense is not good. You're not taking the strengths of your quarterback. You're not using the RPO. You're not using the short screen game. We're not doing jet sweeps, reverses, anything. We're coming out there and we're lining up, and like Wyatt said, I know we're fans of the team we watch every week, but if we know what you're doing, how do you think the other team doesn't know what you're doing?
On top of having Aaron Rodgers on the sideline calling plays for him. Like I mean, I guess y'all forgot he might not have been playing, but the boy was over there coaching. Like literally. They said he was calling plays up to the office. So that's probably why we got beat too, because he figured it out. It was like, oh, well, they're gonna do this and this and that. Like he's smart. So Jalen should have been smarter.
That's my big thing here. You just paid Jalen what, 110 million guaranteed. Why are we not going to him and saying, "Hey, what works for you? You're our quarterback. We just paid you all this money. Like, what do you like? What works?" And we're just not doing that. We're not. It just doesn't make sense. This is not the Eagles team that I think any of us were expecting to see this season so far.
Yeah. Now I know that like I'm not sure how Steichen was, but I mean Jalen Hurts and Brian Johnson have history. Brian Johnson's known him ever since he was a kid. Is it a possibility Brian Johnson's just not hard on Jalen? He doesn't coach him hard like Steichen does? Like Sirianni does? I mean, after that interception, what was it, last week or whatever? You saw Sirianni ripping into him on the sideline. And it's like, as an offensive coordinator who was a QB coach, why are you not getting at Jalen or going into him, asking him if this isn't working, like you were saying, what works for you? What do you want to do? But I just don't know. Like maybe he's just not coaching him hard like he should be. Maybe he's not beating it into his head. Like this is the read you should be making, or like you should be looking for this guy at this point. I don't know. It seems like Brian Johnson's kind of a yes man in the situation.
Well, here, yes man don't know how to call plays either. Like you were there last year, man. Like you were there right behind Steichen. So to me, it is no excuse for neither one of them. You got film from last year. Go back and look at that film. Make it make sense. You got a world of options that you can go back and look and see what worked for Jalen last year and do it. You don't even got to go ask him. Just go back and look at film from last year. It'll tell you what worked. Like make it make sense.
Just do it. Hey, you took the words out of my mouth, Diva. That's what I was about to say. Like, yo, you got the film. You were there. You're just not translating what really works. So get your mind right.
And this is probably maybe a reason why you should go with an outside hire for these types of situations. Like go out and get someone that may have a little experience with that sort of thing and not just be a QB coach. Like maybe I hate some of these outside. I mean, this is the same thing we got in with Doug Peterson. Was like he wants to hire from within, hire his own guys and stuff. It's like I understand you have a history, but you got to look for the best dude for the job. And as of right now, Brian Johnson doesn't look like he's the best guy for the job.
I think it's fit and personality. We could have the same situation and it work out if the guy took what he saw last year. If the guy looked at the film. If the guy said, "Hey, this is not working, Jalen. You were doing this last year. You're not doing it this year. Why?" Right?
Yeah. What's the difference? Like
I'm not coaching.
It doesn't seem Jalen's comfortable
the right way
in this scheme.
So what is it that I'm doing wrong? Let me go look and see what was happening last year. Right? These things don't seem to be happening. So I think maybe during the hiring process, the wrong questions were asked. Maybe it was just, "Oh, you're the QB coach, so we're just going to move you up, and we're not going to see what you're about first." But I mean, we've seen it be successful. It's just not being successful for us right now. Now, this could turn around next week. He could wake up tomorrow and say, "Oh, wait a minute. I'm screwing up here. Let me get this together." I don't believe that's going to happen based on what we've seen the first 6 weeks, but I'm just saying it could happen.
Yeah.
But I really, really, to close, just want to say, flush this game, but watch the film and learn what you didn't do correctly. This is what happens so this is a loss to a dominant defense without a great offense. So what's going to happen when you play a dominant defense with a good offense or a great offense? We got a couple of games against those coming up.
Oh, you're talking about like a Sunday night? You
Well,
got two Alabama players going against one another. That was.
I don't put Miami's defense on a high pedestal, but their offense does have opportunities to torch us, and we're going to get to that in a few moments. But first, a couple of things we got to do, y'all. We got to talk about the weakest link for this past week, and I'm not going to let Diva steal the whole team this week, so I'm going to go first. So Diva don't get the whole team. I'm I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts as the weakest link. I didn't think this would happen, but he did not play up to par. He's the leader of the offense. He's the guy that has those chances to get to the line and kill Ohio, Alabama, Oklahoma, whatever it is, and change those plays. And he did not do a good job of that. He hasn't done a good job of that, but he's been able to overcome it. He didn't overcome it this week. So he's got to also go look in that mirror. He's also got to go call his mentors and say, hey, man, what am I doing wrong? Because it's part of this is you too, Mr. Hurts. It's not all the play calling. Part of this is Jalen Alexander Hurts as well. So I'm going to need you to step it up.
All three of them need to be in the film room. All three of them. Locked in that mug for about a good week.
Getting flogged. Every bad play, they need to get flogged. All right, Diva.
Nick Sirianni and BJ. That's what I call them. Them two.
That's fair enough.
Weakest link.
Yeah, I try not to go with whoever, a player or coach someone else selects. I'm gonna go with Smitty on this one because I mean he drops too many balls in this one, man, and this is just not up to par for what what he is known for. I mean, he comes out here no matter how many looks he gets, he's always coming down with that ball or at least going up to get it. And I don't know if it was just a lack of effort. I wouldn't say that because it seems like he's always going out there and trying to do what he can 100%. But man, that just was not the Smitty we were used to. Too many big drives, especially those big moments like that one across the middle. Like there was nobody around him. He could have got another 10 yards or so off that catch and he just dropped it, man. It's like, you can't be doing that. That's not the standard we hold Smitty to.
Fair enough. Sam, I know we kind of put you on the spot last year. What you got?
Oh, you're good. I was going to say Brian Johnson. I mean, I know he's not necessarily a member of the roster, but I mean, I understand he's a new play caller, but this guy is not a first-time offensive coordinator. He was an offensive coordinator at the college level, so he should know how to, call plays. I mean, it's not any different. It's just a higher level. So maybe that's the problem. Maybe he underestimated the difficulty in the NFL, but ultimately he's got to get it right. Right now, he is 100% the weakest link on this team.
All right, so Sam, since you went last on the weakest link, we're going to let you go first on the elite performance of the game.
Man, that's kind of hard to come up with this week. I mean, really, other than the defensive unit as a whole, which played pretty well over the entire game, I just really don't think one player really stuck out to me personally. I'm interested to hear your guys' answers, quite honestly.
All right, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the dude I'm wearing right now, boy, Hassan Reddick. I mean, since he got that cast out off his hand, man, he's been a monster. It seems like he's picking up right where he left off last year. And I mean, we were generating pressure damn near every play. We weren't able to hit home nearly as much as we thought we were. We did get like 5 sacks in this game, I'm pretty sure, though. And Hassan, he got 2 of them. I mean, it seems like he's just consistently being that beast we need him to be. And it seems like the only thing that was holding him back those first couple of weeks was just that cast on his hand. So, I mean, that's just one of the bright spots we can kind of look at as far as, a terrible overall game.
All right, Diva, who you got?
Big Baby Davis. My boy been out there balling. You hear me? Like, balling. Boy has had 17 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 8 pressures, 4 hurries, and 2 sacks.
I'm going to go with one James Bradbury.
Okay.
Took over as the number 1 corner this week. They targeted him. It didn't go well when they targeted him. I'm not going to say they didn't get any yards, but he broke up a couple of touchdowns. He was like a play caller back there in the defense. You heard a lot of yapping from him, a lot of physicality. You saw him be clear in his plays. You see him be decisive in making plays, making reads, being in the right situation. So a lot of positive, I felt like, from him throughout this game. And like Sam said earlier, honestly, I feel like the whole defensive unit played well. Some lapses here and there, but you think about how many field goals we gave up with the poor field position that we were giving up with everything happening with the offense. So I feel like defense as a whole, but if I'm talking about one player, I'm going with James Bradbury. I definitely agree with Jordan Davis. I definitely agree with Hassan Reddick as well. So great to hear that There were some good performances. Obviously, most of them are going to be on defense because that's the side of the ball that did play well. All right, so we are going to move on now. So, this coming week, Sunday night, 8:20ish p.m. Eastern Time, we got the Miami Dolphins. So here's what we need to do to beat the Miami Dolphins on their offense versus our defense. If you watched our game this past week, Devontae Smith got beat up. He got punched, thrown, kicked, drop kicked, elbowed. He probably got rock bottom out there. He got curb stomped, all kinds of stuff. They did everything to him, right?
My boy.
And when you do that to a guy that's a smaller player, you get hurt, you kind of take him out of the game, get his mentality a little off. They have two of those guys that are fast and smallish in nature, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So you got to get in their body. You got to bump them. You got to let them know you're there. You got to lean on them. It's like when you're playing basketball and you're like a center and they're putting you up against like a 5'8" dude that's trying to play center. You got to lean all over him. You got to make it hard for him. You got to make it difficult. You got to do that with those guys. You also got to take one of your safeties and you got to say, you got to stay back. No matter what happens, you got to stay back. You have to be on top of those receivers. When they're coming, you've got to be on top of them far enough where you can make a move whichever way the ball goes, if the ball goes deep. And pressure. Pressure bust pipes. Tua Tagovailoa is susceptible to pressure up the middle. People aren't getting pressure on Tua. So Tua's having a field day back there. You put pressure on him, he's going to look like Jalen Hurts against the Jets. So let's get some pressure on Tua as well. And safeties, linebackers. I need you guys to wrap up and tackle this week. This is not the week to grab the guy with one arm, the running back when he's coming by, or
Right.
dive and grab at his jersey or swing at his leg. This is run through him, put him on his hind parts, and stop him for a 5 or less yard gain, and not do all the foolishness and get juked out of your shocks and let them go for 20, 30, 40 yards. We're actually getting them at a good time. They don't have A-chain, right? So this is the best time to actually play them. So we're good against the run, right? Through the first 6 weeks, even with this trash that we put on the field this past week, we're the best team against the run. So it's time to show everybody we still are. We're going to run the ball on you, and we're not going to let you run the ball. So we're going to make you go through the air most of the time, and then making you go through the air, we're going to set up our defense for that. That's what we need to do. Tua's not going to run the ball. He is not a versatile running back in that nature. He's not a guy that can run the ball like they're playing quarterback. And they should not want him to run with his history of concussions. So get to him, rattle him, get him pressured, make him feel you, make those wide receivers feel you, and stay disciplined, stay in your gaps, and tackle. That's what we need to do to win defensively to affect this game. What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, because Tua ain't been a runner since he kept messing up that leg at Alabama. So he's really not a runner. But if you give him the chance to sit in that pocket and find them open receivers, Tyreek Hill, then it's over. So you can't give him time. That means I need Hassan Reddick. I need Josh Sweat. I need all of them to put pressure. Like, I mean, we need some heavy pressure this week. Because, I mean, we've been pressuring, but not like how I feel like we should be pressuring. I mean, am I wrong? Okay,
No,
all
you're
right. Okay.
completely right.
I thought it was just me. Like, I see her song ready, but I need the whole team to pressure. Like, really get him off his game because he can't. If you don't give him no time to sit in the pocket and find them receivers, because he's not a quick thrower, he's not a quick release unless he has to be. But you can throw him off his game even if even if he is quick release. But letting him sit back in their pocket, oh, he gonna tear you up all day. So you got to get pressure. We got to run the ball. Like, their defense it's all right. I know I think Ramsey might be back this week, but I mean, he can get burnt and beat anyway. So this is the game to use Swift. Use all of your running backs. I want to see Boston Scott. I want to see Boston Scott a lot this week. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And Jalen, I want to see smart plays, buddy. If whatever they calling out there is trash, I need for you to audible that play because you looking at that defense and you can read defense. There's a difference when you a quarterback and you can't read defense, but you can read it well. So you should be able to know what they're coming with, and if you need to change that play, especially if what they call on the sideline doesn't work. Okay, so I need for you to do that. I need to make sure that everybody is getting targeted. Okay, we know AJ half man half beast is gonna go out there and do his thing, but Smitty, like you said, you got to catch the effing ball, buddy. Yeah, catch that ball now. All right, and hopefully we'll see a little bit of Julio Jones. I hope we will see that little bit of Julio Jones we saw in Atlanta. He is old, but he still got it. So I hope to see him out there getting some plays. But yeah, I feel like the offense, if we use it and utilize it and be creative, we could run him out the stadium. Ain't no reason why we can't. Question is, are we gonna do it? I ain't worried about defense.
Damn, okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of hit all the main points here. I mean, you got to run the ball in this one. You got to control the time of possession. You got to keep that Dolphins offense off the field as much as possible. I mean, when was the last time we played Tyreek? Was in the Chiefs game that first year that Jalen started, right? And you saw what he did to us then. He had like 100 yards in that first half. We cannot allow that to happen this time. Got to control the time of possession. You got to utilize the run game through that offense. I don't want to see you passing every single down in a series. Like, you can't be doing this. Defense, they're going to really have their work cut out for them. I don't envy Sean Desai this week. You know, he's working with a different secondary every single week, and it doesn't get any better this week. So, man, good luck to you. That's all I got to say. And I'm pretty sure that's what he's saying to his players before he sends them out there. Good luck to you. We'll try to figure it out as we go. But, man, this offense, it could be a shootout. And with this offense has been looking the past couple weeks, I don't know if we're in the best position to do that. But this is a get-right game. This is the best time to do it. This isn't the Jets defense we're going up against. This isn't the Patriots defense we were going up against. Like Cool said, this isn't a really good defense by any means. You are able to run on them. I saw that even like with Xavier Howard might not even be playing. He didn't practice today. So I mean, I feel like if Brian Johnson could call a good game, we could take advantage of their defense on offense. It's just a matter of getting Jalen Hurts in a rhythm and utilizing the run like we're supposed to. Hell, get Penny to suit up. Get him some reps. You're going to have to eventually, probably. I can't see all of our running backs being healthy this whole season. You might as well get them into the game, get them some game reps. I don't know if just we only seen him in that first game, and I guess they didn't like what they saw because of the penalty he had. But, I mean, you got to get him out there in some capacity at some point. But I feel like this could be a shootout. I hope it isn't. Hopefully this defense is able to come out and put some pressure. And I mean, just like you were saying, Diva, it doesn't seem like we're putting pressure on these QBs enough. And it seems like, to me, we're only doing it in the second half of these games. It seems like most of the pressure we're generating is coming in the back half of these games that we're playing. Where this game, you need to do it from the very first snap on defense. You got to be putting pressure, like you're saying, or else you're going to have Tyreek getting wide open. You're going to have Jalen Waddle wide open. It doesn't matter if they're covered at the start of the play. You give Tua enough time, they're going to get open because our secondary is not fast enough to keep up with the Cheetah. So, I mean, they're going to have to work cut out for them, but I can see us coming out the link with a dub come Sunday night. It's just going to be the hardest test of the year, I believe, for us.
100%. This is going to be a very difficult game. I'm super concerned about their run game, even with the chain out. Every one of their backs is averaging 4 yards per carry or more. And Raheem Mostert is tearing it up himself, even with the chain there. So, former Eagle, I'm sure he wants to, step it to us a little bit here. But it's going to be an interesting game for sure. If our defense can't keep up, I honestly don't think this could turn into a loss really quick, as much as I hate to say that.
Mm-hmm. Pride. I often say when you lose, that's when you see what kind of team you really have, right? Got the L. So now it's time to go out and say, are we going to get back on the horse and start whooping people's hind parts? Or are we going to do like the Miami Hurricanes did in college and fold because we lost? It's up to the players. It's up to the coaches. Mm-hmm. But I know me as a fan, I'm sure my fellow contributors here, we expect to see them come back and say, no, it's not going to happen again. We're not doing this. We're going to get it, and that's what's going to happen. So it's up to Philly to come out Sunday night, give them all they got. We're doing a pregame show this week. We didn't do one last week because of scheduling conflicts and things. So, we're not going to miss another one if we can help it. We might have to patch who's on it or something, but we're going to have to try to do these because they were 5 for 5 when we did them. So, got to keep these things going on. It's real. It's that real out here to us. But, man, it's just a matter of winning your individual matchup, playing fundamental football, offense and defense. Jalen Hurts, you step back in the pocket. You play football. If you know the hit's coming, you step in, you make the throw, take the hit. If you don't have a play, I'm fine with you running. But get down and get out of bounds, right? Don't allow them to get cheap hits on you. Devontae Smith, look that ball into your hands, sir. I know it's only 1 week, and this is not something that we say about you a lot, but it did happen. So look that ball into your hands. Julio, if you get out there, or whoever gets out there, wide receiver, make some plays. When they call your number, just make the play. That's it. Just make the play. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Don't worry about any of that this week. Just go out there, each play, and do what you're supposed to do. If everybody does what they're supposed to do, and we get 1% better every day, that's 7% better over last week. That should be good enough to be better. I hope we can get a win. I feel like this is a 50-50 game. It always was as long as Tua was playing. But it's time to get one back. We lost when we shouldn't have lost, so it's time to win when there could be a loss. And that's Sunday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
think
they
I said
did
it.
struggle.
Oh, go ahead, Eva. Sorry.
Oh, you good? I was just saying they did struggle against the Panthers for the first quarter. So don't y'all forget that. So that means you need to go back, see if you can watch some film from there. Look at the game and see what they did right for that first half. Because the second half, I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and
you said that
what the
dirty
Bills
F
did.
word.
You know what I'm saying? Like we can beat them, but if we don't play smart, it's gonna get out of hand real fast.
Yeah, and it's like I said a couple weeks ago. It seems like every single week, whenever we were struggling with something, they would go into the press conference and said, "It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. We did enough. We had to do to win, and that's all you have to do is just go out and get a dub. It doesn't matter what it looks like." And that's what I was saying like 2 weeks ago or whatever. It's like, yeah, it doesn't seem like they were taking it seriously. Some of the the big things that were happening, the big things that were wrong with the team. So hopefully going out here and getting your butt whooped by the Jets makes you actually take a step back and look in the mirror and actually see the flaws that are going within the offense and within this defense. I mean, I talked about it before about maybe we need a loss to actually kind of kick us in gear, and I'm no team better to lose to than the Jets to make you want to really reevaluate yourself and reevaluate the team, especially going into a game against the Dolphins, who maybe think that we're reeling a little bit off this loss. Maybe they think they could take advantage of us and maybe overlook us a little bit, and then we come out and blow the socks off right from the start. And that's exactly what we need to do. And I have confidence we can do it. It's just a matter of, can they game plan that game? Can Brian Johnson go out here and put that game together to do this? Can Sean Desai go out here and scheme this quilted secondary of just mishmash of players, somehow be able to stop Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? I think they can, but it's going to be hard.
Any other thoughts, Sam?
Nothing intelligent that they didn't already say. Basically, I mean, I feel like this game's pretty cut and dry. At the end of the day, you have to slow down that offense, otherwise they're going to walk all over the field.
Fair enough. Excuse me, guys. So we're at the point in the show. There's a couple of things that we like to do around here, right? So I have a question. Do you guys think the Eagles are going to be fired up Sunday night?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
And we've said a lot of things about Jalen Hurts today. They were true for the game. But I feel like after Sunday night, Jalen Hurts has a message for us.
Acknowledge me.
Right? And I will acknowledge you if you go out Listen to what we told you. And I have to say, man, the first thought that came to my mind when the clock struck 0 in that game, Ron Simmons said it.
Basically, like for real, field goals, y'all. Like they kick.
That's how I woke up the next day, like remembering what happened. It was just, as soon as I woke up, just damn.
Especially when we getting clowned, man. Like come on, y'all. Like that was the worst. Like that was the worst, man. The
Terrible.
worst.
Of course.
They put Jalen Hurts' head on Dak. Oh my goodness, I about fell out.
Yo, I saw that, and I got to be honest with you. Normally, I would get mad. I put a laughing emoji into the joint because it was true. You know what I'm saying? No, because we always like everybody. Oh, the interceptions, they're not Dak's fault. He still threw 3 interceptions. Oh, the interceptions aren't Jalen Hurts' fault. You're the quarterback. There's 3 interceptions, bro. It's on you. So he relapsed into a Dak clone for one game. It's okay. I believe that he can, arise at like a phoenix and turn back into the Jalen Hurts that we know. But a lot of celebration, a lot of people happy that we lost. A lot of people also happy that the other undefeated team lost. The way they were acting before they lost, I have decided to coin them with a new nickname for this show. So they will forever be known as the Santa Clara football team here. If you act like Cowboys fans, you will get the same treatment. So you are from now and forever the Santa Clara football team when it comes to Eagles Elite.
That's what made it a little, not painful, but that like kind of hurt a little bit more. It's like, man, we could be number 1 in the NFC. We could be holding that spot. I was ready for it after that game. I was like, 49ers lost. We're going to go out here and beat the
only
Jets.
one undefeated until the Eagles came in there and lost. We lost directly right behind them. Directly behind them, man.
The smoke that I had prepared.
It was a weird Sunday. It was a weird ass Sunday.
All gone. All gone. But ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how we end this thing. Couple of things. First off, Miami Dolphins, we got a message for you. And we were supposed to do this in the middle of the show, full disclosure, but I was a little emotional, Carl Thomas, today. So we're going to do it at the end instead.
This is Brett, and you're watching Shady Sports Network. Tune in, hit that like button.
You might wonder, what do these guys do? Player signing announcements. I never in a million years thought you would actually come on to break this news. So without further ado, go ahead and tell everybody what happened today.
Yeah, man. I just had a workout with the Cincinnati Bengals. Finding me right out.
Without further ado, I'd like to announce that, I'll be taking my talents to Salina Liberty.
This just in, the Major League of Football is reportedly collapsing, unable to pay hotel room bills, with players being kicked out of their rooms and hotel managers asking them to leave voluntarily without issue.
And I also want to say that the way Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni have been calling plays is not cool.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
So keep not being cool and see what happens. But, ladies and gentlemen, reminder, tell 2 of your friends and 4 of your enemies to come check us out. Because just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us. That being said, fly Eagles fly.
Hashtag be elite.
Make sure you catch us on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that pre game show, and I'm going to be doing right here on the channel. I'm going to be doing a play-by-play for that said game. So we're gonna see how things go. You know, you might see my camera off a lot. You might see a lot of cheering. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. We'll catch y'all next week. Tune in Sunday.